On this edition of Ultrasound, a look inside the life of Tori Amos, as told by her fans. Some of the most loyal, and some might say obsessive fans around.
She makes life worth living. She's the best.
From an unusual childhood to a career as one of the most influential and eccentric women in music today. Ultrasound lets you hear Tori's story from those who know her best, the Tori Files.
Tori, I love you!
Love you, Tori! We love you, Tori! Thank you, Tori. I love you.
She's all-knowing.
She makes life worth living.
She's magic.
Tori is the kind of person, I think, who creates music that you either relate to or you don't, and I definitely do. She's just touched me in so many ways.
Sometimes it's easier to go to Tori with a problem than it is to go to one of your friends.
She really takes time out to talk to fans and get to know them and everything, so she has a really intimate relationship with everyone.
She first started playing music at the age of 2. She's a piano prodigy. I think there probably isn't a time where Tori can remember not being at the piano.
Well, when you're little and you play an instrument, it's so much about this has become your best friend. That's how it was for me anyway. I remember this song, the Jackass and the Toad song. That was this thing I wrote, I think when I was about 7 or 8, because I was always trying to get out of my homework. I never did well scholastically, so I would always try and write a song to pass. So I remember writing the Jackass and the Toad song, putting these, I don't know, second grade vocabulary words to pass.
She's the youngest person ever admitted to Peabody School of Music.
She attended the Peabody Institute, and apparently it wasn't quite her cup of tea because she left the Peabody and pursued other things.
Really, when I got kicked out of the Peabody, my dad got frustrated with me. And he looked at me and said, if you want to do this so much, then dress up in your sister's clothes. My mom was away in North Carolina visiting her parents, her mother, and we went down to Georgetown, and I got a job at a gay club that night.
I wouldn't necessarily call it a strict Catholic upbringing or anything, but her father was a preacher. Her father was very supportive of her because he would take her out to play at gay clubs in Georgetown section of Washington D.C. and people thought it was pretty strange. You know, here comes a preacher with his little daughter coming to play piano in gay clubs.
I was 13 years old when I got the job that night at the gay club. My dad took me down in my sister's clothes. And then when I was 15, I started playing 5 nights a week. I'd go to school in the day, and I'd come home, and my dad would take me. I think I was playing the Capitol Hilton down on Capitol Hill, where all the lobbyists would come and have a drink and meet their mistresses, you know. And then when I was 16, I got my license, and I drove myself, and I worked at the Carlton right below the White House. When I was 21, I just knew I had to get out of there. Sometimes you have to leave where you are to really grow and stretch.
Everybody else's girl, maybe one day she'll be you.
I had sent tapes out of my work, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of tapes of my songs, hundreds of songs, and was told this girl and her piano thing would never, ever happen. A friend of mine from high school was living in LA, and he would call me on the phone all the time. He'd say, you know, if you really want to take this seriously, you're wasting your life.
Why Can't Tori Read was Tori's first musical project when she was signed with Atlantic Records. Basically, it was her version of a pop metal band.
Someone smashed my window, broke into my brand new car.
apparently it wasn't what the country was looking for at the moment. I think this was the late 80s, and it wasn't what was in style, and it honestly, I don't think it was the music that was coming from Tori's heart at the time.
When I look back on Why Can't Tori Read, I really wasn't strong enough in my conviction to what we were as a band. And I think God knows what would have happened if we would have stuck with it and I would have been stronger. But I did allow a lot of changes to take place because I really, you know, I had to get out of the clubs. I just couldn't play at the Marriott one more year. I'd been doing it so long. And at that point, I was willing to do anything to be successful. Unfortunately, even throw away my integrity, which I did.
I guess it was all that experience that she had with that album is what kind of gave birth to Little Earthquakes.
Little Earthquakes was really me going back to what I'd done my whole life. My friend Cindy Marble, I remember going to her house and I just started playing her piano. I remember playing for her for hours and she sat there on the floor and she said to me, "How can you not do this? No matter where it takes you, no matter if you have to work 2 jobs for the rest of your life, how can you not do this? This is what you do." I think after Why Can't Tori Read and it being a total bomb, I didn't have the concept that I was writing something that a lot of people would hear. I was really writing that for myself, to find my self-respect again. It was almost like walking in a daze when Little Earthquakes, the album, started to take off. Because for so long, I just didn't have any response from the outside world.
Snow can wait, I forgot my mittens. Wipe my nose, get my new boots on.
I'd never kept a diary. So Little Earthquakes, I guess, was my diary. And you only have one diary. You can't keep rewriting that. That was, I guess, every feeling that I had locked up inside since before I can remember.
It was her first album that kind of broke into that like confessional songwriting. Me and a Gun was on that, so that was really important.
Me and a Gun is a song she wrote about her experience when she was raped. I think that was around the time that Why Can't Tori Read happened.
I know it was an acquaintance that she met at a show, that actually went to her show, and she went to give him a ride home and he raped her.
She wrote the song as sort of, in my opinion, it's sort of a therapy for her. It's a catharsis for her to talk about it, and I know for other fans it is too.
I wrote this song a few months ago after I saw Thelma and Louise, and remind me of something that happened to me a few years ago. I sing the song a lot. Feels actually very good to sing this song. It's called Me and a Gun. It was me and a gun and a man on my back, and I sang Holy, Holy as he buttoned down his pants.
A lot of people don't talk about something like that happens to them, and for her to write about it and put it on an album and to sing it, she sang it, you know, every night at every concert, and to like almost relive that every single night. And I think a lot of people not only respect her for doing that and for being so honest and open about everything, but also I think by singing it, it helps her heal, and it helps maybe a lot of other people who've experienced that to heal.
I've seen Tori perform the song, and women are just weeping because you know they've had the experience and they relate to Tori on that level, and it really is a nice cathartic effect for them. I know she's exercising a demon that she really needs to.
In the time it takes you to brush your teeth, one woman in America is forcibly raped. Unlock the silence. If you need help, call RAIN, 1-800-656-HOPE.
RAIN is the organization, the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, that Tori started to help rape victims, incest victims, all over. And that's like one of the other things that she does, I guess, to help fans.
It's basically an 800 line, so sexual assault victims can call in and talk to counselors anywhere in the country. I think it's just an extension of Tori's willingness to help others that have gone through the pain that she has. Tori treats her fans better than any other artist that I can think of. I mean, she'll meet her fans before the show, she'll meet her fans after the shows.
She knows certain people that follow her, like, around at different places, and she really, like, cares about them. It's very genuine. It's not like she's flaky and she's like, oh, you know, hi, bye, and then she leaves. She, like, really takes the time. She takes pictures with people and everything. That's, like, one of the things that's so amazing about her.
The most exciting thing I can do is connect with somebody that has something intelligent to say. But sometimes if you have somebody at the shows that just won't let up, that just won't, and wants to take your attention away, and there are 1,000 kids waiting, then even though they don't mean to be selfish, that kind of gets on your nerves, because you're going, look, we've signed 3 things, we've talked for, 2 minutes, and look at all these other kids. What about sharing? That kind of gets on my nerves. But it's not exhausting to try and connect with another human being.
There's some kind of strong emotional drawing here that these people want. They want to be with Tori, they want to touch her, they want to be her friend. But they have to know that it was a fan that started that song, Me and a Gun. And they have to remember that. I know my limits and I know my boundaries with Tori.
The follow-up album to Little Earthquakes was Under the Pink. It was released in 1994. There was definitely a transition period for Tori.
She got away from the diary format and talking solely from her own experiences.
Hey, they found a body, not sure it was his, still they're using his name. And
So many different themes. It isn't really one core theme like you can find on Boys for Pele or From the Choir Girl Hotel.
fine, 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 why you always go when the wind blows.
I've been so exposed, so I needed to hide some things from myself. There were things that I knew were falling apart for me, but I wasn't really ready to talk about. What I did talk a lot about on that record was how girls turn each other in and betray each other, really serve each other up on a plate for their other friends and for men.
This is not really, this is not really happening.
Well, Under the Pink was tricky because, that whole sophomore jinx thing that people say, if you've had a successful record, then, so many artists, the next one just totally takes a dive. And I knew the jinx, but the thing is, you have to remember, I'd done Why Can't Tori Read? So the truth is, Little Earthquakes was my sophomore record. So in my heart, I didn't think I would have the jinx curse if I could just stay true.
Boys for Pele was definitely her most creative album. It was 18 songs, and they're all just so amazing and so different, but it's like a concept album almost, because you have to listen to the whole thing or you don't get it. The whole album is so metaphorical, and that was right after her breakup with her boyfriend that produced her albums, Little Earthquakes and Under the Pink. And so it was a lot of like letting out emotions about that.
Many of the songs in the album reflect, the end of a relationship to her that meant quite a lot.
Boys on my left side, boys on my right side, boys in the middle, and you're not here.
Well, Pele is probably the most depressing thing I've ever done in my life. But, if you're in that space where you're crawling and you feel you have no power anymore, you've turned it all over, that record was really my empowerment. And I think Pele was really all my fantasies being ripped to shreds about who I was. And really, when I wasn't behind that piano, I had no life. I had no passion. Not that I knew how to express. So in a sense, the piano was really my ball and chain. You know, I was nothing without her. And that was heartbreaking. I got pregnant, and it was the most wonderful thing. It was a surprise, but I wanted to be a mom more than anything else.
She recently experienced a miscarriage.
Her whole album is based on it. You know, this is a very traumatic thing.
When I miscarried, I think, you know, we were heartbroken. But I still felt the spirit of this being. And the love doesn't go away. You know, I still feel her with me.
She's convinced she could go back pleasure, but she couldn't keep baby alive.
The songs started coming for Choir Girl, and they came in droves. Pandora was the first to come. And the rhythm of the water, because I was by the water, started to make me feel like I wasn't a failure as a woman. You know, there was nothing I could do to save this baby.
Then again, she's had great things happen recently. She recently got married to her sound engineer.
From the Choir Girl Hotel, she did while she was in a relationship with her husband now, Mark Hawley. And musically, it's a lot different because it's the first time she had a band. It's more leaning towards like rock than just the girl with the piano image.
This new album is definitely the next evolution for Tori. The band is just bringing a new intensity to the music. It's a whole new level.
Let's go.
Well, the tour is definitely a plugged show. We call it plugged, and it's, you know, hopefully it's buckle your seatbelt time. All the songs from the other records too, you know, they looked at me getting a bit jealous, saying, you know, why can't I have a big bottom beat on me? I've waited all these years. And so we've taken some of these songs and they have a whole new arrangement.
Before every concert, she sits around and she draws upon the energy of something. Be it like sometimes she draws upon the power of fairies, and like because I think she believes that they're everywhere, and there's something I think she finds solace in them. Some critics have been stated saying that she's a 24-karat Fruit Loop.
Sometimes they see her as kooky or a little off-kilter because she doesn't give the standard answers. There's a little, you have to really listen to her on a deeper level and try and say what you're saying, which sometimes can be difficult for people because some of the media want a straightforward answer. They don't want to dig a little deeper. I think Tori writes about what's going on in her life. So I think whatever happens in the future with her life, it's going to influence the way that she goes. I know her recent marriage has made her happier in life, so maybe there's going to be more happiness in her life. It's going to affect her musical writing in a better way.
I'm not jumping into the next album. Whatever that is, I really want to experiment more. With each album, I try and keep experimenting, and I am fascinated with different arrangements at this point. I don't know where it's taking me, but I'm listening to more rhythm than I ever have, and I think I'll be going more in that direction. The audience that comes to see my shows are really liberal. They're very open-minded, and I think as a musician, you can't ask for more than that.
I want her to keep playing music and keep making music and keep doing things to change how she does her music and not keep everything the same. Because if it was 4 albums that sounded like little earthquakes, I wouldn't be interested in that.
I think that the people that are open to what I do, there's a deal, a secret deal that we've made, which is if I keep challenging myself, whatever that is, as a writer and a performer, then they'll at least be open to hearing it.
Just knowing that somebody can rise above it and play at Madison Square Garden and have so many people love them and be so cared about, it just means that, you know, there's got to be a way out for all of us.
Well, I'm going to be with her for the next 20 years, you know? You know, no matter how big she gets. She could play in the moon, and I'll watch her on the moon.